Yeah.
BB-8.
Yeah, that's BB-8 from the new Star Wars.
Oh, the thing. Hello, you're listening to KAOP, AM 1045. This is Accents on Purpose. I'm Danny.
I'm Joseph.
And we are back with Season 2.
Season 2.
We've been renewed.
Yep.
Long time listeners have noticed that we were off for a month or so, negotiating contracts.
And Gary got lost in Discovery Park, so that was kind of
Got lost in Discovery Park?
Yeah, Discovery Park.
Discovery Park. Discovery Park's a nice park.
Yeah.
No, if you walk through Discovery Park, do you consider that a hike?
It depends on what path you take.
The long one, the big one.
I would say.
Wait, you said it depends, but no.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not I think that. I'd say no.
It's like over a mile. You walk through grass.
Who were you trying to convince that you hiked? That's what I want to know. Is someone?
What? I went hiking. I go hiking all the time.
Yeah, I mean I know, but
I went to the top of
Discovery
Poo Point.
Oh, that's a great place.
It is great. Tiger Mountain. I took Tiger Mountain
By force.
Yes. Okay, so we're back. Joseph, how are you doing?
I'm doing really great. I'm so happy to be back. Terrible amounts of time off. I did not like it. But look at us. We're back.
Back? I know, I had to go on unemployment.
Yeah, 2 peas in a podcast right over here. Look at us. I have 2 goals this year. I want to usurp Serial as the number 1 podcast of the year. And I want
Does that mean you're going to murder me?
Yeah, and then solve it.
Murder me and then try to get people to try to solve it.
Yeah, and then I want to get a Kickstarter going to bring back Fruitopia, because I really miss that. That dry mouth feeling. The dry mouth feeling with a
I don't think I ever
flavor.
bought any. I don't even think I got one.
Really?
I don't think I ever tried one.
I just miss those vending machines that were all Fruitopia.
I was more of a OK Cola guy. That's not true.
Yeah, I know.
It's
we
not
have
true.
talked about that.
Yeah, I when I was younger, I did go to Boston when I was like 15 to spend it with my brother, and they had OK Cola up there.
Yeah.
And I was amazed because I'd just gotten into Daniel Clowes, his
yeah.
comics, and he drew, and I was really confused. I was like, wait, he makes these weird comics about like people dressed as Elvis fucking people. Like, why is his artwork on cans of cola?
For anyone interested in what OK Cola is, there's a great article in the Believer, about it. It's fantastic, and about why that artist started working for Coca-Cola.
All right, no one's listening to us talk about pop.
I'm not so sure about that, but okay, let's continue.
They're gonna make a soda joke. Our guest this week to kick off season 2 is Seattle's hottest band.
Oh, so hot right now. Man, they're hot. It's winter, but they're hot.
Nebraska whiskey.
Nebraska, Waxy, Estonia. Is that what you're talking about?
We were looking at the dots earlier. Newaxeyes. If you folks want to introduce yourself individually.
Or just tell them you're Newaxeyes.
I'm Tyler. I play guitar in the band.
That's great.
I'm Will, and I also play guitar in the band.
Crazy.
I'm Brett, and I play guitar in the band.
I'm Jordan, I play guitar.
Half of that is true. So, we opened up the set, or we opened up today's episode playing one of your songs.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to describe the way that you folks sound to other people. You use a lot of, I would say hip-hop influences, electronic influences, but then also it seems like you're trying to make new sounds. And also your songs it's mostly instrumental unless there's a guest. And you don't follow any sort of traditional song structure. Is all of this correct?
Kind of, yeah. Well, we sort of build everything from zero, so...
So, Brett.
Whoa. That was good. That was good. I think we like to focus on themes, recurring themes.
Okay,
So.
well, let me take this back a little bit. Okay, so I know that it's, you two started as a 2-piece, and then you added 3, then 4. In the beginning, was it, let's try to make something that sounds very different, or did it just kind of happen? You just let's play music together, and then you just started challenging each other?
It's never been. I don't think we've ever had an objective to sound. We want to explore new sounds and when we find a sonic fragment or something like that feels compelling, that feels like something we haven't heard before, then we pursue that. But I don't think we ever started from a place of we want to invent a genre, or that we want to sort of forego genre constrictions or anything. I think it's just that's our natural inclination.
Yeah. Can you, like, a lot of times I actually have a hard time describing music to other people who haven't heard it, like a specific band. Why is that funny?
I don't know. I don't know their guitars, but I don't even know what they sound like.
Because a lot of times, like, okay, if you're like a shitty derivative band or even a good derivative band, it's easy. It's like, oh, yeah. It's it sounds like, Devo and the Misfits, or something like that. Like you can, those bands are easy to describe. But then
I like that.
But when I describe you guys, instead of trying to describe the sound, I kind of describe like the feeling, and I kind of compare you in a weird way to like Kraftwerk, because those guys spent like long periods of time trying to construct songs, and like they seem to be coming at music with like an idea of like, well, let's make something that doesn't sound like what other people have done. And so I was like, they don't sound like Kraftwerk, but I feel that
the ideal.
It's like similar in like, you have, I guess also because it's like four guys, but you have these like four guys who are like, working, and then, occasionally they go in front of an audience and like kind of present that work.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at the beginning, before we started really like honing in on our songs, maybe like the comparisons were a little harder to make, but I think more recently people have been picking up on like those influences that creep into our music. Like the other week, somebody referenced 1 Tricks Point Never, which is somebody that like we listen to a lot and respect his music a lot. So it's cool to see like those little comparisons that people can make, and that those influences, while not like directly obvious, are there enough.
Yeah.
That they kind of come through.
What would you say are your influences? Obviously, you're not a derivative band, but what sort of inspires you?
Besides Devo and the Misfits.
Yeah.
I think we come from all, very different places as individuals and as artists. What inspires me and like what I listen to, or what is creatively compelling at any given moment, I think is probably very different from any of these guys.
Yeah, we all listen to vastly different kinds of music. There's a lot of overlap, of course, too,
sure.
And we share a lot of interests, and we go to a lot of shows together and all that. So there's definitely overlap, but I think everybody brings some pretty seriously different influences to the table. And I think just in general, we find ourselves bored. We often arrive at places that sound pretty conventional, that maybe would be pretty easy to discern where it's coming from, and then I think after that, once we work with that for a while, it becomes boring, and we want to inject a layer of craziness, or we want to subvert it somehow, or flip it, or something, and that's generally how we get to where we
seems like there's like a kind of a perpetual challenge to ourselves to like sort of like if something gets too far into a territory that's recognizable, I think we all are constantly trying to challenge ourselves to like, flip that or see where else we can take it.
That could be our mission statement, if you will. Really,
you guys incorporating?
It's to often in the songwriting process, we will, as we're building a song, we get to a place where we all want it to go in a certain place, and then we take a couple minutes and we realize that we want it to go there because it's the obvious place, so we're absolutely not going to go there.
Yeah.
And instead we're going to do something else. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever write a song and then decide to do the entire opposite of everything you've just written, or do you avoid it altogether?
Yeah. I don't feel like we have seriously constructed a song that isn't a working piece in our repertoire. Like we don't do a lot of throwaway work. Even if we come up with some ideas that don't end up being together, we definitely incorporate them in a piece. Like
We have
don't,
songs
none of
where
it,
the first sample could have been from 4 years ago.
Oh wow.
You know,
So okay, yeah. One thing I wanted to get to is now how you guys been in a band for what, about 4 or 5 years? 3?
3 years.
3?
3 years.
Okay, on the longer end of 3.
Yeah.
And you've released a single, and you're working on an album. Do you feel that your writing, like the pace of your writing went faster than the pace of your recording? Like, do you kind of wish that maybe there's some stuff that you don't want to put on this album, but you're like, oh geez, I wish that we would have like recorded that and like got it out because like you've moved past it. And
Yeah,
so,
that's what's so hard about it. I mean, things just take so long. Like this, like making a full length record or like just a full artistic statement of any kind. Just it takes so long to do it that there just is always a gap between like where we are creatively and what our output is. So like now, we've been working on this. I mean, this record contains material. Some of it's 2 or 3 years old. Some of it we've been developing in different iterations that entire time. Some of it's brand new, but
Some of it's a couple weeks old.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're actually we to that point after we thought that the record was done, we started working on new material and we started kind of letting ourselves get loose, and then we kind of kicked out a new song and performed it last weekend. And the guy who's producing our record, Randall Dunn, he was at the show and decided that the song has to be on the record.
he's just like, dudes, you got to bring all your shit in on Monday.
Yeah.
We're gonna record.
That's pretty cool though. That's
So
good
we-
feedback.
We did like
Yeah.
an hours-long text message crisis about whether or not we were going to go through with it. 'Cause
Yeah.
the
it's
song-
also a bit stressful, yeah.
Yeah.
the song wasn't. We weren't even thinking about the song being done in any capacity,
Well, we thought the record was done.
and we thought the record was
Yeah.
done.
Ah,
So
yeah.
it totally flipped on us. So now we're gonna have a song that's really hot off the platter.
Yeah.
Hottest band, hot song.
Hot song.
So
It's a great song.
no, when you recorded this single, it was kind of like you guys did it like in a marathon session, right?
Yeah.
And like you almost killed yourself.
Yeah, like 9 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
to 6 a.m. the next day, or
Yeah.
something like that. And then we went back in because we weren't happy with it
Okay.
for another day.
Okay.
Of like 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. or something.
So, how
songs.
hard is it for you to just be like, okay, it's done? Like, how hard is it for you to
It's
let
really
go?
hard.
For me, it's very hard.
For him, it's really hard.
Yeah. Disconnecting and letting go of stuff is very, very hard for me.
That was the big strength of working with Randall. Was that
Randall tamed Will.
his whole approach was, like, let's get levels. Do the song, let's get levels. And then we do it, and he's like, okay, we recorded that. Let's do it one more time. And then we do it one more time, and then all of us are like, okay, I think we could plug in here. And he's like, nope, next song.
He's
he
already
just...
punched it and it's like done.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only way he's obviously extremely intuitive. He's been doing it for so long that the way that he describes it is that he's worked with so many different bands that have so many different styles, and there's all these time constraints and money constraints that you get really good, I guess, at sort of when people come into you, identifying their playing styles, identifying their neuroses, all the weird shit.
Looking at Brett.
Neuroses, because we all have a whole shitload of those.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And then basically coming up with an internal game plan that we don't know anything about how to make sure that we're doing the best work as fast as possible with a minimum of sort of infighting and consternation and all that shit that we would otherwise, which is what made 2 songs take like a year.
That's why when doing something like quote unquote self produced and self published, that's why it was so grueling for us, is because letting go and make, especially also because it was our first statement. We wanted it to be perfect, and of course listening back on both of those songs, I mean, I love them both, and I think they're really strong. But there's also a million new things I would do with them, and that evolution never changes, never stops.
Yeah. So how was what was your initial contact with Randall, and like how was because having someone come in and record you and like make decisions like he made, you must have gotten comfortable with him.
It also seems like people, at least there was that disco dropping video where people seemed excited that you personally, like your band was working with Randall Dunn as well. Mm-hmm. So it must have been a cool experience.
I think he first approached us at Hypnoticon, but he had a relationship with like the Midday Veil guys and working on their record and some other people that we know.
Yeah.
So he was already sort of aware of what we were doing, but I think the first time he saw us live was at Hypnoticon.
Yeah, his band Master Musicians of Bukake played on the main stage, and we were playing in the Musicarium Lounge. I don't know if you've ever seen a show there.
At the Triple Door.
At the Triple Door.
Yeah.
They had played, and we were the very last band of the entire festival, of the 2-day festival. So it was like 11 or midnight or something.
Yeah.
And I guess Randall was hanging out, and I'm roommates with Emily and David from Midday Vale, and so so Emily sort of kind of was my champion, would champion our band, and then Randall approached us pretty quickly after and just said that he wanted to cut a record, and that was
yeah,
it.
but I mean.
Midday Veil's
He's done their last two records.
Yeah.
But being approached by someone is different than trusting their decision making process. I guess that's what I kind of meant.
I think his pedigree kind of spoke for itself. Yeah.
I mean, he's done some of certainly my favorite records of all time that I grew up listening to.
You think Gary's can find a Midday Veil track that
Randall
Dunn has produced?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, off the new record.
All right, Gary, spin it. That's a hot track.
That was really good. Yeah.
So many hot tracks
We should
today.
have them on, Joseph. Why are you? Because we have a whiteboard, and it's the list of bands we want, and the list of bands Joseph won't allow.
And Midday Veil.
I know. Can we erase that?
That's a secret, and I will never tell you. Although I think you know why.
It's beard envy. You can't grow facial hair.
I can grow facial hair. It's just awful, and I can't. Like, there's an empty spot right under here.
I refer to that as can't growing facial hair.
Yeah.
If you can physically do it, but it's awful.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, David is thousands of years old, so that helps.
Yeah.
So back to your single, your 12-inch single, your first release. You named one of the songs Assange, correct? Is it true that the reason you did that was because you thought he'd hear about it and tweet about your band?
Yeah, he never did. So
Yeah.
Or is that just a rumor I made up right now?
Yeah, no,
I think it's the first one.
we were looking online, and Assange,
A
Julian
lot of
Assange,
Twitter followers.
he posted a whole bunch of digital hardcore stuff, and some Romley and some Merzbow. So we figured, he'd probably be pretty receptive.
That would be a really weird PR move for bands to just name all their songs after famous people or
on
things going on.
the new Newaxeyes
we
record,
did that.
there's a song called Snowden.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And isn't
And Church.
Church
is also
is a more obscure whistleblower dude.
Yeah.
as a whistleblower from the 1950s, I want to say.
Tuskegee?
Yeah, absolutely.
He kind of blew the lid off that thing.
Yeah.
It seemed like. Or he was on some sort of government.
So you guys like whistleblowers, is what you're saying.
We were really
Or patriots.
fascinated with that for a time, and just subverting systems. Once again, it is kind of a overarching theme. So just as we like to do what wouldn't be expected and would cut out everything that is expected. That same kind of subversion on all levels. I think there's some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiration that we draw from all forms of that.
Mm-hmm. So on your new record, you're going to have some vocals. How did the decision come to do that? Since you don't normally have vocalists, everyone.
Well,
I want to get Will.
So our friend Hannah Ben, who I went to Cornish with, she studied composition there, and she's a wonderful vocalist, composer.
She's really amazing.
Her and I, well, we were friends a few years. We've collaborated on a few different projects. She really likes Newaxeyes, and we just had been talking about doing a collaboration for a while, and so when we started getting really heavy into developing the record, it felt like a good opportunity to pursue a collaboration with her. So we just kind of knew that we wanted her on the record in some capacity. We had flirted with having her fully collaborate on a song, or I don't know. There are a few different ideas floating around about how to do that. We just knew we wanted to work with her and have her on the record. So, but what it ended up being, I mean, mostly due to she was moving, and she was neck deep in this other project.
Was closing.
Yeah.
And
She had 4 or 5 days before she was out of town.
Yeah.
By the time we actually recorded with her.
So we decided that since we didn't really have time to do to move in together and start developing material from scratch with her, just because of time, we ended up just we recorded a series of improvisations of her doing solo vocals.
So was she listening to the music or just no? Oh wow.
Well, I had her. I wanted her to.
We hadn't recorded any of it.
Yeah.
So wait, so you asked someone to sing along to one of your songs before you recorded it?
No, we did it. We had her do a series of solo takes that were. I asked her to improvise based on the material from Assange.
Okay.
So she kind of, and we allowed her to, I told her to be as inventive as she kind of pleased and just make it her track, her solo.
She had a basically vocal harmonizer box / looper, so it was her voice untreated in combination with this harmonizer that would basically create chords for her voice, and then she could loop that. So and then we rented a space for a day, which is down in Soto. It's called Black Space Labs, and it's Eric Blood's studio. And he has this big,
Huge cavernous space.
You could call it a foyer, but it's more of just like a big industrial brick-walled room. We knew we wanted it to be really big and reverby, so we rented a PA, set that up, and then sat her down in there, then basically just hit play and left the room for a while. And it's just this huge, booming, reflective kind of sound that we love.
I think the initial idea was for her. So the initial idea was to record her doing solo vocals, and then we were going to take that material and sort of chop it up and sample it, and then develop a piece on our own without her as a way to collaborate. But actually,
she nailed it.
She fucking killed it so hard that we just ended up.
That's pretty nice.
Preserving.
That must have been cool.
Yeah, it's mostly just going to be her. With a little bit of stuff.
She's not on every song.
No, just that.
Just that one.
Just that.
There are a few moments where we kind of tease at what her moment in the record is gonna be throughout the album, and then
musical themes matching some of her vocals, or
her voice kind of comes in and out over layers of the song.
It's kind of a centerpiece of the record. It splits the record in half. So if we're thinking about it we've always sort of been thinking about it as an LP, just in that context. So it would probably be the end of side A, and this kind of palate cleanser.
Yeah. Just get off topic a little bit. One of the things I liked when music was recorded to be intended to be released on LPs, a lot of times bands would think about that. It's like, okay, we have two sides, and it sometimes like it makes it sound like better, like even when you listen to it all the way through. And now I think not as many people think that way. It's kind of because
we're very careful.
Thinking the idea of sides is it's fun. Like
I think
as like a consumer of music, it's like fun.
I think it's people who like we all collect records pretty, like all the time. But
I don't.
Will doesn't. Way to go. But like it's such a rewarding experience when you're like listening to a record and you maybe know it in the context of listening to it digitally, and then you like put it on, and then maybe the last side has like a lock groove, and you forgot that you were like playing this record, and then you realize that this thing has been going for like the last like 45 minutes.
And also to see like the momentum of the songs in correspondence with the sides. So for this, this record is coming in at right about an hour long.
Oh wow.
So if it is put to vinyl, then it's a two disc. And so making sure that it's all balanced in a way that like you put on side A and you're engaged immediately with something hard hitting, and then you get a palate cleanse, and then you flip the record, and that experience keeps happening. So like you don't.
It's about instead of we would never front load. That I don't think that's a decision.
All the
we would never make.
hits.
We don't have hits. We're never gonna have.
You're right.
We don't have like the single in a traditional capacity. So I think even if you're not thinking about an LP, it's just we wanted to make sure that there was a consistent energy throughout the whole thing, and that you don't sort of so that it doesn't peter out at the end, or that you're not it doesn't take 1,000 years to get into the meat of it.
So I mean, so as far as I know, you're the only Seattle band around now that's music has been used to score a pornography film.
That's right.
That's almost true.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe I don't know if it was a Gazebo's song or something.
Oh, okay.
One of that Sphere bands did something last year, so that's not true.
Well,
we did it better.
Yeah. Was that the name of the we did it
better. I like that.
What's it called?
Lube dispenser. Is the name of the film.
So can you elaborate on?
Was that for like Hump or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brett knows most about that one.
Well, wait, so we do have a worldwide listening audience. Joseph, why don't you explain what Hump is to our listeners?
Oh yeah, Hump is The Stranger is a local like alternative newspaper, and they sponsor this thing every year called Hump, where it's supposed to be an amateur or anyone from the city of Seattle or maybe even outwards can produce their own adult film and submit it, and there's like a film festival for locally made pornography.
And then they destroy all the copies. So like the idea is that like if if you're worried about this ending up on the internet, it won't.
There's also a Mark Duplass movie all about it, which is not very good.
Well, it's great that you brought him up and then slagged him. That's
He does some good stuff. It was kind of okay. Watch it. You decide. I can't decide for you. Fuck you.
It's funny. Joseph used to have a job doing film reviews, and that's how
That's how it was. Fuck you. And I was like, I didn't like
all of them were like, I don't know. You watch it. You decide.
Yeah, they fired me after a week.
It's not my job
Rotten
to
Tomatoes.
tell you how good this movie is.
But anyway, so how did this happen?
I was approached by a friend, Jonathan, whose last name is totally escaping me. Do you know his last name?
No.
Okay.
What's up, Jonathan?
Jonathan Blank. I can't believe I'm blanking on his last name. But he sometimes fills in at a local record store that I work at.
Yes.
Everyday music.
Not
Not everyday music. He was starting on this project, and they watched a rough edit. Or actually, I don't think it had been shot.
So
that was a lie.
edit when you're talking about a porn.
Yeah.
Rough edit.
so
You're gonna have to totally
Have you
take
guys
that.
seen it? Just-
No, I haven't
okay.
seen that. I haven't seen that.
Anyway, actually, I think they were just storyboarding, and he for some reason, kept thinking about Assange.
Yeah.
And so he approached me about using it, and we had a long, deliberate conversation between the four of us about, if that works for us and what the ramifications of that are. And we kind of said, fuck it. It's
rock and roll, baby.
It's rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it would be used in that way. Oh, again, subversively.
Yeah, and I think we wanted to make sure, because Brett was the conduit for this. We wanted to make sure that it was like sufficiently weird, like a porno.
Yeah.
I guess, or just that like I just think at least one of my personal concerns was that that the song would just not work or something. Yeah. That it would like just be like a regular amateur porn with this
like Here Comes the Plumber and
right.
Here comes the fire. I would watch that one.
Like the pizza
you have watched
Hey!
pizza delivery or something. Yeah.
Extra sausage.
But I saw who didn't.
I did not see it.
I didn't see it. No.
You two didn't see it. You saw it.
Yeah.
So I think all of my fears were pretty much eviscerated from the first frame of.
It's beautiful and like.
And one of you said that someone noticed that it was your song, who was like in the theater, and like didn't that happen? Or
There was a
quite a few
Reddit
people.
thread in the Portland Reddit because they take it on tour.
Yeah.
And somebody put, I don't know what thread it was, just our Portland.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, anybody been to Hump? Like, what was the song that was on the lube dispenser?
Yeah.
And then somebody else like answered it for them, I think, or I don't know.
Somebody gave a wrong answer, and then I was like, I just signed into Reddit on our account and told them.
Hey, we're a local band, Seattle.
We're on Bandcamp, buy our shit.
Yeah.
So now, being an instrumental band, a mostly instrumental band. And
Can I just say one more point?
oh yeah.
Somehow it actually perfectly captured the spirit of that song in that it's like the film is like super terrifying, but they dig all of this beauty out of it. And I mean, like the film begins with, I think it's like a plastic bag over somebody's head,
And then like a knife
somebody cutting a knife hole in
through
the
their
mouth.
mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Animal
Just goes from
masks
there.
and like very intense fisting.
A lot of fisting. Lots of lube.
Hopefully.
It was pretty hot. but I'm into, never mind.
It's great, but
I promise that's not the last of them.
Yeah, it was definitely the most visceral, terrifying porno I've ever seen, and I'm just proud to have been a part
No,
of it.
that's
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
but I was gonna say, so being like an instrumental band, a mostly instrumental band, and then also kind of not necessarily having set songs. Do you get approached by a lot of people with like horrible ideas that they want to collaborate with you on, or?
I don't think anything's ever been horrible.
It's
always
we'll get
been.
to that. We'll
I
get
think
to
it's
that.
always been like a way of figuring out how to work together in a capacity that we've never worked in before, like doing something as simple as like playing for a dance class for an hour and just purely improvising for an
that's
hour
a good
straight.
idea, yeah.
A lot of really interesting ideas end up coming out of that. And
Yeah, it
like,
probably pushes you.
And then when we did the Alien score, that was like a whole other endeavor. But to answer your question more directly, like
Well, I guess
nothing has ever been like, fuck that idea.
Unless it's been like right off the bat, we're not interested. And then,
well, that's what I mean. Like, if someone come, like, I've written 14 hours of poetry about carrier pigeons. Would you guys want to collaborate?
Actually, I would totally do that.
Yes.
They played a huge role in World War One, so there's a lot to explore there.
We turned down, there are a lot of shows where we're just like, why are you asking for us to be on this bill?
I think we turned down most. I mean, we turned out a lot of stuff.
We turned down a lot of stuff, but I don't think we've
We're
ever.
probably more selective than maybe we should be at this stage in our
Yeah.
career. But it's like, we envision we're constantly trying to like sort of carve out what this project is conceptually, and we take a lot of care to make sure that everything that we do has integrity, artistic integrity. And I think part of the vision is of this band as like, you know, an art ensemble as well as a band that plays shows and puts out records and shit. So, and we're lucky enough to be surrounded by, you know, I think people think of us also as being part of the larger art community in Seattle, not just, you know, the music scene. So there are many.
We're very fortunate to have a huge friend group, social circle that just sort of is interested in collaborating and presents all kinds of amazing stuff.
And they're all killing the game.
And
they're all just awesome. Awesome
So
artists.
I think we just have a great pool of talented people whom we trust, such that like even if we do get the occasional dud, like that feels like an anomaly rather than being offered really cool stuff or pursuing cool stuff on our own.
Yeah.
So do you think that sometimes like maybe you kind of said like you're being too selective, like do you care too much? Like do you think that like maybe you look back at maybe like a year or 2 years ago and you're like, oh, we should have just like let loose a little bit more or something?
I think a year or two ago we were, in terms of playing live, we were far less selective.
Yeah, we were taking whatever.
Yeah,
Playing every
we
show.
really were. We were playing some weird gigs.
What's the weirdest show you ever played?
Ooh, that's
Club
a fun.
K.
If one comes to mind.
Club
No.
K in Baltimore.
Club
Club
K
K in Baltimore.
Club K in Baltimore was really weird because, so it was our second and third show basically in Baltimore, and we were invited by some friends of ours in a company called the Pendleton House, which has since kind of changed its direction, but at the time it was sort of art ensemble collective. I hate that word, but an art collective, and they got this opportunity to perform at a festival called High Zero in Baltimore. And it was basically, they came to us and asked if we wanted to improvise and develop a score with them over a week in kind of a residency in Baltimore.
It was a movement piece. It was contemporary dance.
Right. And High Zero is, the whole show was basically a bunch of contemporary dance with new music generally. So that was great. That was fun. That was a cool experience. And then we booked another random show at a little club called Club K. Little tiny bar.
Just kind of like a Korean dance club.
Oh, so weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
And we got, so
There was like 12 people there.
12 people there. They were mostly our friends.
Were there other bands playing, or was it basically you?
There
Yeah.
were a couple acts before us.
Yeah. One of them was wearing a bodysuit or something. Anyway, so the show was what it was, and we got really wasted.
That's fun.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
the show was, but so after we were done performing, this dude shows up.
Like Will's laugh.
It gets better.
Lord Superb? Is that what you're talking about?
I think I called him Grandmaster Supreme.
But Lord Superb.
I introduced. Okay, all right, back up. This guy walks in. He's clearly hammered. He's apparently doing his laundry.
Yeah, he just
At a
happened to be doing
laundromat.
laundry.
Yeah.
Great.
This guy.
I like that he dresses up to do his laundry too.
He said we started talking to him. He was very jovial, and he revealed to us that he was a Wu-Tang Killer Bee.
And upon further review, he actually was. He's
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah.
But
He's like on some like Ghostface stuff, but
he
like,
was a disgraced Killer Bee. He was actually ousted from the Killer
Yeah, he was
Bees.
exiled.
He was on.
nice.
I think he had a spot on Fish Scale, right?
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
pretty interesting.
it's interesting, and he.
But it is something you don't believe right off the bat.
Right.
Because that's
No,
something that's-
Especially when
like,
someone walks in wasted, like I'm doing my laundry.
Yeah.
And this major thing.
Yeah. So, okay. So we finished our set. He was sitting at the bar, just hammering shots. And then we all go out after our set. We're in a good mood. We're chilling. We're smoking cigarettes and whatever. And he walks outside and comes up and he's like, "Yo, what do you say?" So I'm like, "I gotta spit. I gotta spit over you guys." And there was supposed to be one act after us. So I'm like,
We gotta do
this
this.
is happening.
We gotta do
So I go over to the guy who's running the show, and I'm like, "Dude."
Because we're all wasted.
It's
We're
like Lord Superb, the Kill Bee, the Kill Bee.
Grandmaster Supreme.
So we get back on stage. The guy is pissed. He's like, "Okay, whatever, do it, be quick." So we get back on stage and I say, "All right, we're gonna do a little encore. We're gonna bring Grandmaster Superb
Oh, this is great.
or Grandmaster Supreme on stage," and the three of you guys are just like. we thought it was like a pretty cool opportunity.
And he comes up and he like grabs the mic and he's like, "It's Lord Superb." And then
Rap about Barnum and Bailey.
yeah, it's not a circus.
I mean, basically,
Barnum and Bailey.
I think he laid on the floor on his back, and then I think the four of us improvised.
Yeah, I
and
just
he
started
like,
hitting
moaned.
beats and looping them.
Yeah.
Very, very, like, I want to say that it was like Jay Dilla drunk, like in the pocket, but it was just drunk. Like, really, really not together.
Yeah.
And it went for like 6 minutes. Tyler got some video of it, actually.
Yeah, there's video that exists of these three because I was like, I'm too drunk to fucking play anything right now, so I just let them do their thing.
Man, it'd be really fun, like, documentary to go around and find all the, like, outer rim members of the Wu-Tang Clan. Like, everyone who's just, like, had one verse on one
Isn't
thing.
there a dude who like cut his penis off and jumped out a window?
Yes, that is true.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, he won't like he was like doing drugs and like going crazy.
Yeah, he was on
he cut his
crystal or
penis off
PCP or
and he
something.
jumped off a building.
Yeah.
That would
Did he
be
survive?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do things these days. Okay, so
That motion, you cutting off your penis. I wish I said, well, live stream.
yeah, we got a live stream.
Segue that.
Well, I was gonna say, we're getting towards the end, and one of the things Joseph brought it up that we haven't gotten to is you guys scored the movie Alien at
Right.
the Northwest Film Forum. And-
Live.
and from my perspective, like when I heard that, I was really excited, and then it was great because you guys were a little bit turdy. You're a little bit tardy.
Turdy?
Turdy. I don't feel turdy. And so everyone, showed up, more or less on time, but couldn't be let into the theater. And so like the lobby was like completely filled. It was the film forum was sold out, and everyone was in the lobby waiting.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of like made the experience like a little bit better because there's anticipation built up.
That's because, per usual, we didn't have all the shit we need to actually play a show.
Yeah. I don't remember what
We were missing like
One XLR
Yeah.
or something like that. That's our sound dude, the guy we collaborate with for every show and then also for all our recordings, Will Smith. He saves our life every single time, and so he like ran into Greenwood or somewhere. I don't know.
That's Big Willie style.
That's Big Willie style Will Smith. The same.
Yeah, it's that Will Smith.
That Will Smith.
he was so mad when he got back after like running across town to buy this fucking XLR cable and we hadn't even switched the monitors on. He's like, what the fuck, guys? He's freaking out, but saves our lives like always.
So yeah,
It wasn't improvised, was it?
No.
Okay.
Parts of it.
How many times did you watch the movie Alien while you were writing?
97.
70 fucking times.
Yeah.
but
so-
you watched it in like parts, right? Didn't you like kind of break
We all
it
got
down?
together and like we had the one like let's just order
Watch the
pizza
movie.
and like drink beer and just watch the movie and chill and not worry about like
Yeah.
not be critical and thinking about what are we gonna do here and there. We did that and then I think we sort of pieced it out after that.
Yeah, we kind of came at it like a bunch of film students. Actually, we found a bunch of overarching themes, and we wrote like
Did a lot of writing.
we wrote mantras for each of the characters. Not specifically like Ripley and. We did.
Forces.
Yeah, we had a human theme, and we had an alien theme, and we had a machine theme, and all of those things were interplaying against each other, and that actually made it a lot easier because we had compartmentalized. We divided the work up because now we had these major themes, and then it was really just about like connecting them and making them work together. So,
We also made we put together a video for ourselves. That's why we had that Mac in front of us, where we just had the movie running in time up there, but I had overlaid it with countdowns and cues and stuff. So
Awesome.
if something was coming up, it would say, okay, this scene change is going to happen, or this theme is going to come up. Then that would prompt
this is
us.
a cat scare.
yeah.
There's a lot of jump scares, so we had to be able to hit those.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's
So
really
Now,
Smart.
the tricky thing.
Jesus Christ.
The tricky thing is that the copy that we had ended up being. It must have been one.
It was
frame.
Well,
two
there's a
frames.
thing called drop frame in video, where it won't be like 24 frames per second, but it'll be like 23.976 or something like that. And I think what happened was the Blu-ray that they were playing or whatever was drop frame and mine wasn't. So those little fractions of a second added up. So by the end of it, we were about a second off.
So what happened, fortunately, was our video was running faster than what was happening on screen. So we would, like, there'd be a countdown. Like, we started noticing it, maybe about halfway through the movie. And it was like, like there'd be a bright flash on our screen and it would be dark behind us. And then immediately afterwards there'd be a flash and we were like, oh crap, like this is starting to get out of sync. But it worked out because our video was going faster, so we would just like kind of intuit a little bit extra time, and that was dilating. It was getting bigger and bigger as the movie. Yeah, it was crazy.
Brett kept leaning over. He was like, half second, 40, like 3/4 of a second.
So, I mean, first of all, for the people that didn't see it, it was unbelievable. Like, I was anxious when I left. Like, it was almost like at the end, like a 45-minute panic attack. That just like
perfect.
But the thing that impressed me most about it was, because there's a lot of like jump scares and a lot of things that you guys build up to and then paid off. But then immediately you kind of like brought the audience down, and like and those parts I think were like kind of like, to me, the most impressive, because it's easy to like build up to something and then like bam, hit you with it. But it was those parts that like immediately afterwards, because it was like you can't just have there be silence. And so
I mean that was the biggest struggle, even with like getting Northwest Film Forum to agree to let us do that film initially. Courtney Sheehan, the director there, was kind of like, what are you gonna do with dialogue? All the ones that have been done previously in that series had not been dialogue driven type of films. Mostly silent films, abstract sort of art films. So she kind of just put it in our hands and trusted us with it. But that was really hard to figure out like how to fill that over without it just being a bunch of like.
Yeah, because we didn't want people to lose the context of what was going on.
Yeah. And so some of it, ended up being like kind of like augmented Foley work, where we were making like the click clacks of the machinery in, and then we'd kind of like wean from that. Oh, maybe we could like turn this into something more rhythmic, or like we could introduce a melody here and like,
it like at no point was because you announced that you were going to do this like a few months beforehand. Well, I remember when Brett came in to the store and it was like, do you have Alien on Blu-ray or anything? But
Still have that copy.
there you go. If you go into Spin Cycle looking for this Blu-ray and you can't find it, that's the reason.
I got it.
But
Sorry,
yeah, I was
Jason.
thinking, it's like there are like long stretches that aren't necessarily exciting or anything like that, but you made it good the whole way through. And I really liked when someone would go on a computer, because there's a lot of time when people go on computers and they read information, and you created this like, but it worked really. It didn't come off as cheesy. It worked really well, and then that happened several times.
That was really tough.
Okay.
That was mostly him.
That was kind of a lot of my job, because I trigger all the samples for the most part. A lot of my job was doing that sort of ambient, noisy stuff, and it was I kept coming up with these little things that sounded super Mickey Mouse and like and in fact most of it stayed there, but we figured out ways to make it sound cool and not weird.
And then how does it feel to like put so much effort into something that could not be really commercially released because of copyright laws?
Well,
and length too.
We've been wrestling with that. We have it recorded, and actually pretty recently I listened to it. I think we all listened to it pretty recently. Kind of out of context, and it sounds awesome.
Sounds cool. It's a long.
It's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But
Did you release it just as it is without?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about putting it out, or also putting out our source video of the countdowns without Alien.
Just taking the thing out, and then doing kind of a Wizard of Oz thing. Like we have it synced
just
up.
sort of put it out there. Like, hey, if you watch this with Alien,
Yeah. I'm gonna give you guys a little scoop. We'll never say this again. But when this thing does come out, hit play when the searchlight on the Fox logo, when they pass the third time.
The third time.
Third time.
Okay. Well,
Tidbit. You're
man,
gonna
it's like
hear
I'm seeing it right now with your arm waving.
3 on that third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that third
also
one?
Take some acid.
So you'd hinted a little bit about working with Will Smith. So he is not technically a member of the band, but he does basically all of your sound.
Yeah.
How is that relationship? I mean,
It reminds me of Mission to Burma, where they had a sound guy too who just kept looping things around. They really depended on him, but he wasn't really in the band.
Yeah, but Will just does sound. Like he occasionally plays cello, but basically he just is your sound guy.
We had him play cello in the Alien score.
And that's it?
I think that was
okay.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that was it.
Yeah, this is our devoted sound engineer. He just gives a shit and he cares.
He's a
and
wizard.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's an incredibly good engineer. For being. I mean, he's green. He's young as any of us, but he's really great at that.
He's brilliant.
He puts out a lot of fires. In live context, for sure.
Yeah, if you ever want to piss off any house sound dude ever, just bring Will Smith. He'll make you sound great, but the sound guys will absolutely hate him.
I feel like sound guys can be really hard to deal with.
It's not a problem.
anytime.
Really, if the venue has a capable sound system, it's hunky dory.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't. If the sound system is underpowered at a venue, he takes personal offense and will.
Which is what we want.
Which
He
is
just
great,
he makes us sound like we're meant to sound, not like how the house sound guy wants us to
Yeah.
be.
So
great.
we've blown fuses and we've
Yeah.
freaked out sound guys and
But
stuff.
yeah,
Well, we've talked
if you're
about
one of those sound guys and you want to come on the show and tell your side of the story, email us at accentsonpurposepodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. We answer every letter.
I would love to have if someone made like a DVD or like a movie about you guys as like a bonus feature, just interviews with sound guys that deal with you, like a montage.
Those guys.
I don't think we've ever done irreparable damage.
Cremwork was close.
Cremwork was close.
Cremwork was
We
close.
almost blew their power conditioner.
Yeah, they
Will
were-
Smith would tell you would go on for thousands of years of why they have a terrible power conditioner. But so Cremwork, if you're listening, put your stuff on more than one power conditioner.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, everyone knows about power conditioners.
I like that place, but that place is weird. It
wasn't
doesn't
right for us,
It
I
doesn't
don't
feel. It's too like there's too much concrete.
It's great. It's
a
great
great
if you're trying
DJ
to
spot.
DJ. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
don't
great
think
DJ
it
spot.
caters to, at least like me, I think it's cool that it exists, but there's never anything going on there that I really want to go to.
Yeah.
Except for your guys'
You
show.
weren't at the DJ Antwoord after party that we DJ'd?
No.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
D
Antwoord.
Antwoord had a show at the Paramount and then an after party at Cremwork, and we
That they were
DJ'd
not-
it,
they
and they
weren't
never
affiliated with
showed.
it all.
Yeah, and then they didn't show up to their own freaking after party.
That sounds like something you would do, actually. I'm saying that only to Brett.
Pretty true.
It's true.
Yeah.
We can be very oblique.
So back to the record. Who's releasing it?
It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the compliment.
We mix in a couple days.
We finish it on Wednesday.
Get it done on Wednesday, and then time to find.
You're gonna shop it.
Randall has
Send
some
it off.
ideas.
Yeah, Randall expressed that he wants to sort of take the initial reins on that. He has some relationships with labels that he's just sort of accrued over years of.
Any ones you can mention, or
No, you know.
Not that we
Yeah,
can mention because we don't want
taint
to
it,
like
yeah.
jinx it.
Yeah, we can't.
But
We can't.
I think we could say as much as
Sub Pop.
he's definitely Sub Pop. They're totally interested. He's going to Europe in a couple weeks, and a couple of the labels are actually European labels.
So you're gonna charge all your fan import prices.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck yes.
costs £20.
$30 record, no download code.
We have some options. We have a couple local things on the table too, but we're keeping our options open.
Do you think any of these labels are gonna sign Brett since he doesn't have a driver's license?
I do have a driver's license.
You got
Woo! I got one.
Yeah.
That's the first time in 2 years, everybody.
We're all really happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, because there was a time that you folks played at the High Line, and beforehand, the door guy went around as like, "I see everyone's ID," and Brett had like Xerox piece of paper that with an expired ID.
No, he tried to show
Oregon.
his liquor license.
That's
Yeah.
right, because I didn't have a valid ID, so I tried to show my liquor license.
And so until the band started, Brett wasn't allowed to be in the bar, and you went and did karaoke down the street.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Do you know what song you sang?
Invariably, I sang some Prince.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Brett is actually really good at karaoke. Once I had to go to a sort of ex's birthday party.
That's right.
That I mean, we'd never dated, but there'd been something.
Heyo.
And she really wanted me to come to her birthday party. She was dating someone, and I didn't want to go alone. And Brett was like, "Karaoke, I'll go." Yeah. And Brett just went in, didn't know anyone, just kept putting his name down, and like every other song would be Brett.
Yeah, they actually stopped putting me in.
Yeah, because no one else was singing. But at first, everyone was like, "Wow, who is this guy?" I'm like, "Oh, he comes free with the room. You can like rent a really good singer to make your karaoke parties more fun."
It
I
should be.
think Brett's either really great at karaoke or really bad at it, depending on what your criteria for good karaoke is. Because what Brett does is he murders it and is like an amazing vocalist, which to me is completely not the point of karaoke.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
actually, it pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny to watch somebody who's like up next just go like, man, fuck this guy.
I fall to pieces.
Yeah. Right.
So it's so stupid about being in a 4-piece instrumental band with like two really excellent singers, Brett and Jordan.
Well, it should be noted within like the first 5 minutes of knowing Brett, Randall labeled him the wild card of the band, so it's like completely
I'd say
accurate.
that's true.
Yeah.
I saw Danny do karaoke once.
That's true.
So did I.
Yep.
I wish I
Can we just do a
hadn't.
round table favorite karaoke song?
I only do Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, Bohemian.
I usually do Bowie's Let's Dance. But I have to do
I like that one.
And I did that before he died. And now I'll probably never do it again.
Okay. Tyler?
I don't do it that often, but probably Fleetwood Mac's The Chain.
Yeah.
I've been on a big Dixie Chicks kick, but probably maybe Angel from Montgomery originally by John Prine, but the only version they usually have is the Bonnie Raitt version.
It's probably The Beautiful Ones by Prince. That's
I always get the underwear going down with Wicked Game by Chris Isaac.
And Kiss from a
we
Kiss
also
from a Rose.
love Kiss from a Rose.
yeah.
And Drops of
Batman.
Jupiter. Yeah. It's
Our band is really probably heavily influenced by that song.
I thought you were going to say about karaoke.
When we have writer's block, we go to karaoke.
yeah.
That's actually not all that false.
I've been trying to make my own karaoke songs lately, but only like weird YouTube people. Like Mark Gormley is the one I'm working on right now.
Oh, that's
Little
so
Wings.
I would love if
So
someone
good.
brought a floppy
Wait,
disk
we
with
hear
it.
it?
Wait,
I do
can
an
Gary
original.
find that
Can
song?
you hear
Yes.
Little
Yeah.
Wings by Mark Gormley?
Here we go.
It's
Great.
amazing.
Little wings, can you make the flight? The rain is getting heavy, there's a storm tonight. So far from home, the ocean goes below. Will you make the morning light? Oh, little wings in flight.
That was great. I really enjoyed that.
I just have one like quick thing to say. Kelton Sears called us out on the podcast with you guys way back, saying that get our asses into making a full length record. So it's happening.
Who's laughing now, Kelton? It's gonna be another 8 months before it comes out.
I love when guests call out other guests. It happens so rarely, but it's fun.
I know. I want people to come on here to settle beefs.
Oh,
and
yeah,
start beefs.
so much beefs.
Yeah.
Even though you're a vegetarian?
Do we have beefs?
Oh,
Do we? We
I don't know if we have any beefs.
Kelton.
want some.
Yeah.
Kelton's not a beef.
Yeah, you can start one too. Just call out a band that you.
Kelton's not a beef.
You don't want to hear that.
yeah.
We're
Midday Vale, you're going down.
Okay.
You left the milk out again at the house. You're fucking going down. All right. I think that's about it. It's another episode.
Yeah.
We came up with a lot of segments and we didn't do any of them. So
That's absolutely true.
So next
We've been
week-
working on more segments, but
so next week's guest is going to be awesome as soon as they return our email.
yeah.
We've been Actions on Purpose. I want to say thanks Newaxeyes. They
Yeah,
have a
thank you
record
so much.
coming
Thank you,
out
boys.
soon-ish.
All right.
Peace.
This has been a podcast presented by
Hard to Find Media.
Subscribe to Hard to Find Media on youtube.com/Hard to Find Media Network. This shit is free. Share it. Blast it. Fuck it.